This is Ben from Testiv, and we are solving an SAT problem about equivalent equations. Okay, so we are asked to find which of these equations is equivalent to this one here. Okay, well, let's see. My first thought when I see this is to try to factor it and see what I could get that multiplies together to equal -7 and adds together to equal 6. Well, I don't see anything that works. I know that -3 and 4 isn't going to work because those don't add together to equal 6. These are not in the correct form that I'm looking at right now. And -7 plus 1, that's going to be -6. So that's also not what we're looking for. This one's close. You could be tempted by this one, but don't accidentally choose it. So that leaves us with knowing that we're not going to just be factoring this into x plus something, x minus something. Okay? So what we're going to have to do is complete the square in order to solve this. So if I'm thinking about this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this equal to 0 just to make it easier on myself. So I'm going to say x squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0. And there's a reason I'm going to do this. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called completing the square. And the reason I know I'm doing that is the form that these equations take here, where I have x plus something squared plus something else. Okay? X plus something squared plus or minus something else. Okay? So I'm going to complete the square. So I'm going to say x squared plus 6x equals 7. Okay? Since I'm not factoring, I'm going to move that 7 over there. And now I'm going to add half of this coefficient squared. So half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I make it x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 7 plus 9. Okay, so I'm just adding 9 to both sides. The way that I got 9 was I divided 6 by 2, and then I squared that. So I got 3 squared. Why on earth would I do that? Because this complicated math allows me to make it simpler. So now I have a binomial that I can actually turn into x plus 3 squared. That's what x squared plus 6x plus 9 is. X plus 3 squared. Okay? So you could factor that into that. Equals 16. Okay? Which means now I bring it back over, and I basically have y equals x plus 3 squared minus 16. And that's my answer choice. You might need to watch this again to get all the steps down, but basically I looked to factor it. When I couldn't do that, I knew that I needed to complete the square because of the form of my answer choices. And then, in order to complete the square, I moved my final just lone number without a variable over. I divided the middle coefficient by 2. I squared that. I added it. I factored it. And then I put it all back together.